Okay, so as all of you know, the decade has officially wrapped up, the 2010s. We're in a new era at this particular point. And to be honest with you, I've been working and crafting together a list of the top anime of the last decade. So I've been really working hard on it, and that video should come within a few days. But I was like, well, while I'm doing this, let me check the temperature, see what people have been thinking about regarding these different subjects of anime in the last decade. And I seen that Funimation released their list of different categories for anime, like best sci-fi anime of the decade, best animation of the decade, and it's fan made, so it's fan voted. You know, it was all put together, it was polled by fans. Supposedly, I didn't see where this was, so I'm not 100% sure on the legitimacy of who voted on it or whatever, but it was seemingly fan voted, so I gotta give them that. I can't just say like, oh, Funimation execs put this together, right? But to be honest with you, there's a few of them that I kind of agree with, and then there's some of them that is like, who voted for this? Like, what are you doing? How can you say this one trumps out 10 years of anime? Like, what the hell? So we're gonna talk about it, and or we're gonna see the results and talk about it. Yeah, let's do that. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. So like I said, the decade just officially wrapped up. The 2010s, we're in 2020 now. New decade beginning, all of that good stuff, but it's still always good to reflect, right? You always should learn from history, so that way you don't repeat yourself, and I like to just, you know, reflect on what has happened in the world of anime in the last decade. And again, Funimation released their polled list of different categories, and you know what? I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's start off with this list, and yeah, we'll keep on going. So one of the first categories is favorite anime film of the decade, and the results were, the winner is Your Name, which, to be honest with you, that was a pretty damn great film. It was very, very successful. I remember the director, I want to say he was the director or the producer. It was one of his first major hits, and he was just like overall like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Like, you know, stop giving me so much praise. So I'll be honest with you, I don't necessarily agree with that one because there's a lot of great films, but I won't completely say, you know what, that's wrong, because Your Name was a pretty damn amazing film. I mean, the concept wasn't all that like, oh my gosh, and some of the Evangelion films were great. There was a lot of great films. I mean, Gintama Forever Yorosia is one of my all-time favorite anime films, and that was released this decade. So while there's a lot of great anime films, I'm not gonna say that this was a bad choice per se. Would it be my choice? Probably not, but it's still a pretty damn amazing film. I loved it. I seen it in theaters and everything. I mean, if I had to pick one for that category, because I won't be talking about in my top anime of the decade, I won't be talking about anime films, but I'd probably put one of the Fate Stay Night Heaven's Feel films. Like, the animation was gorgeous, the plot is incredible, the characters is amazing, so I probably would have picked maybe the first one out of those or something like that for that, but still, Your Name, it's okay. I'm not mad at it. Then the next one is favorite original series of the decade, and the winner of that was Kill La Kill. Now, to be honest with you, anime originals really have been very scarce this decade, opposed to the previous decade where you would get like anime originals that would go for like 50 episodes, a la Code Geass. That was a real big gamble that they did, and they did 4 cores, a total of like 50 episodes. But to be honest with you, there wasn't that many contenders as, like, to my knowledge, that was just straight up anime originals. Almost everything that I remember from this decade of anime was usually based on a light novel, based on a manga, some form of source material was, you know, available. So for Kill la Kill, while I think for, you know, the people that broke away from Gainax and created Studio Trigger, it was definitely wacky. It was definitely over the top in true fashion of Studio Trigger, and I enjoyed it. Would I say over the past decade it's like, you know, one of the best or my favorite? That's a tough one, because again, there's not much competition in that arena. Like, how many, like, this is a known fact that studios really this decade strayed away from going all out on an original title because there's so much uncertainty in there. Like, if there's no core fan base to gauge off of how successful this could be, studios been like, we don't even want to take that gamble. Let's go adapt that light novel that is very successful. Let's go adapt that manga that's very successful. But I mean, Kill la Kill, for what it's worth, it was a pretty damn cool series, and I enjoyed it, so I ain't mad at that one either. Okay, it's cool. We didn't have that many originals anyway, so fine. Kill la Kill, whatevs. I enjoy it. I like it. But the next one, stop. Whoever voted for this motherfucker, stop. I'm looking at it right now because the category is favorite companion creator of the decade. Favorite companion creator of the decade. Which is meaning, like, you know, that pet that rolls around. That's what I'm imagining. You know, the companion, so to speak, of like whoever's they're rocking with on their journey. And the winner of that is Happy from Fairy Tail. Get out of here. I don't like, yo, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of stuff that I like about Fairy Tail. I'm not shitting on Fairy Tail, but Happy by far in the last 10 years, like, I'll take Hawk from the 7 Deadly Sins over him. Give me fucking Puar that didn't do shit in Dragon Ball Super over Happy, okay? Like, I'm sorry, there's probably 10,000 other people that could have been chosen, characters that could have been chosen than Happy. Like, no, I'm sorry, that is a horrible thing. I mean, it's a weird category to begin with, favorite companion creator of the decade. Happy from Fairy Tail? Fam, there's so much more. Puck from Berserk. There's so much more that they could have chose than Happy from Fairy Tail. That is a horrible, 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 horrible result. Like, absolutely terrible. We got 2 okay results, and then this one is just like, wow, who voted for Happy? But let's continue. Because the next category is favorite animation of the decade. And when they say animation of the decade, I'm curious if they just mean anime in general, or the actual animation of every show that came out in the decade, because there was a lot of greatly animated shows. So it's not in particular clear for me based on this. I'm reading it off of, by the way, an article that has the full list. Funimation's site is way too hard to navigate through to actually see everything, and I just don't feel like putting in the time for that. So favorite animation of the decade, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. Don't get me wrong, because I know there's a lot of Demon Slayer fans, and I love Demon Slayer. But let's remember, we're not talking about 2019, because 2019, there's an argument for that. I mean, I might not, I don't know, I don't think I'd choose Demon Slayer for that, to be honest, but there's an argument for 2019. But the past decade? Hello, One Punch Man Season 1 said what up, okay? One Punch Man Season 1 said was good. Attack on Titan is like, yo fam, I'm right here. Are you kidding me? Attack on Titan was a once in a freaking millennia, not a millennia, okay, but like once in a decade smash, incredible art, incredible animation, incredible story, all of that above. And if we're just talking animation, you cannot tell me that Attack on Titan ain't there. Attack on Titan said was good. There is so many. Vinland Saga just wrapped up, said hello, how's it going? Like, Demon Slayer is dope and all of that stuff. Again, I'm not shitting on Demon Slayer, but I do not think that that is worthy of favorite animation. People are ignoring everything else, like, because, you know, Attack on Titan came out earlier in the decade. The anime was, what, 2013? So people are not really thinking straight of, like, there's 10 years of anime. Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, Unlimited Budget Works said, yo fam, I'm right here. Fate Zero said, yo, why are you playing with me? You picking demons? Like, I love Demon Slayer, but no. Attack on Titan, if anything, I probably would have gave it to Attack on Titan. I probably would have gave it to Fate Zero. I probably would have given it One Punch Man Season 1. You cannot, like, Season 2, alright, they dropped the ball big time, but Season 1 of OPM, stop playing with me, okay? Demon Slayer is great and everything. I'm not shitting on Demon Slayer, but I just think that that was a more spur of the moment. Hey, Demon Slayer just came out last season, or just wrapped up last season. People are still hype off that. That's the most freshest thing in their memory right now. But you cannot tell me Attack on Titan, Vinland Saga, all of these great series got trumped over by Demon Slayer. I'm sorry, I love Demon Slayer, but over the last 10 years? Then we got favorite romance series of the decade, which the results was Your Lie in April. Now, I'm not a connoisseur of romance series. I've seen very, very few, especially from this decade per se. Like, I've seen some older romance stuff, but I mean, Your Lie in April, I've never seen it, so I can't really be the judge of that. If I just had to pick one off the top of my head that I remember from this decade, Blue Spring Ride, which I want to say that's considered a romance. I really enjoyed it, but again, you know me, I'm more of a action, you know, those type of series is what I rock with, so I'm not too familiar with the category, so I cannot really judge that properly. I would be lying here if I said, no, You're Lying April, I never even seen that show, just keeping it real. So, I can't say nothing about that. I'll let y'all sound off in the comments on that one. Then, favorite isekai series of the decade. Now, if you don't know what a isekai series is, it's those Sword Art Online trapped in another world scenario anime. And the winner of that was Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World. I've never seen Konosuba. I know, and a lot of people have told me about Konosuba that is really good. People rock with it, and that might be a great choice. But again, I haven't seen it. But if I had to pick a favorite isekai series of the decade, I'd probably, maybe No Game No Life was pretty cool. SAO 2, the first half of SAO 2 was great. The first half of SAO 1 was and let's cut the malarkey. Like, don't get me wrong, I know SAO has a million problems. Ironcrad alone should have been the whole first season. Like, when they did that breakup of, like, after the first 12 episodes and they skipped everything, like, those 24 episodes should have just been all Ironcrad. So I'm not, you know, silly to say that. I know SAO had many problems, but you cannot deny that Sword Art Online wasn't one of the biggest of the decade. It started the whole craze. You know what I'm saying? That was one of the biggest crazes that was started by that. I mean, even though it's technically not supposed to be in there, Dr. Stone is kind of a isekai series. It's disguised as not, but they're trapped in another world, just way in the future, and it's in our world, but in the distant future. But again, I don't want to rant on that one because I've never seen Konosuba. But favorite isekai series of the decade, I'm not the biggest fan of the isekai genre in general, especially because it's just been so played out ever since Sword Art Online's breakout hit. But I'll be honest with you, I'd say if I had to, no matter the hate that it gets and the horrible shit that they did with it, I'd still say Sword Art Online probably would deserve that. I know a lot of people got into anime alone off of just getting into Sword Art Online. That was a huge one. So, but I'm not the big connoisseur of that either, and I never seen Konosuba, so I can't really go in on that one. Next up, favorite sci-fi fantasy series of the decade, and I am not going to argue this one. I agree with this one 100%, to be honest with you. Like, maybe if I really put some time and thought into this one in particular, I might find something else that I'd go with, but probably not. And the winner of that one was Steins Gate. Steins Gate, incredible anime, amazing. Hoinkyoma! They got it right with that one. I ain't gonna argue that one. They got it right. Steins Gate is fucking incredible, amazing. I love that series. I love series that know how to take time travel, have some interesting characters, and honestly, the shit that Hoinkyoma went through and all that, freaking insane. So Steins Gate, yeah, give it best sci-fi fantasy series of the decade, favorite, whatever. Then favorite sports series of the decade. Now, to be honest with you, it's interesting because I feel this decade sports series made a major comeback, and in the West it honestly birthed life into it this decade, because prior to this decade there was a very big stigma where, you know, a lot of publishing companies over here in particular weren't trying to license sports manga. Anime distributors weren't trying to get sports anime over here because it was a stigma that sports don't sell well. Sports anime and sports manga don't sell well. This decade changed all that. And the winner of that, Haikyuu. Haikyuu, I like Haikyuu from what I've seen. I've seen, like, I want to say the first half of the first season. And I remember that it was funny because I seen the first half of Haikyuu. I put it on hold because everybody kept telling me, go check out Kuroko no Basket. I went and then I marathoned the first 2 seasons of Kuroko no Basket, and I loved that. So, I mean, there's a couple of really good contenders for this one. I ain't mad at the Haikyuu vote. Personally, I probably would go with Kuroko just because I really love the idea of bringing in, like, you know, superpowers in a way, you know, the shonen elements to basketball with, like, getting in the zone and the different powers that they had and all that. So I really like Kuroko, but I can't complain about Haikyuu either because from what I've seen and from what everybody tells me still going in the manga, it is freaking incredible and amazing. So I ain't mad at that one. Favorite sports series of the decade, give it a Haikyuu, why not? Then favorite shoujo series of the decade. Again, I haven't seen many shoujo series from this decade. Like, this decade, I've seen a lot of shoujo, just not stuff that came out this decade. I seen, like, you know, Kodomo no Omocha, aka Kodacha, like shit like that from the 90s and stuff. But I can't be mad at this one either because I really love the original, and from the bits that I've seen of this one, which is a more faithful adaptation remake, Fruits Basket 2019 won that, and I can't be mad at it. I want to say shoujo from this decade, Fruits Basket is one of the very few that I actually did see. So Fruits Basket, I mean, it's a legendary shoujo, and then them revitalizing it, yeah, why not? Give it a Fruits Basket. I mean, Inuyasha is technically, I think, a shoujo and a shonen, and Inuyasha final act came back and it wasn't really, like, they rushed through a lot of shit and it was so yeah, I give it a Fruits Basket. I love Fruits Basket, so yeah. But then the final one that we're gonna talk about, which, no, I love this series too. Like, don't get me wrong, y'all know I'm an anime and manga fan, so majority of the series on here, I love. Kill la Kill, Your Name the movie, Demon Slayer, I love it. Steins Gate, love it. Like, you know, there's a lot of series on here that I rock with. But to give this, because the next category is favorite shonen series of the decade. There was a lot of series that were still going. A lot. We had Alone, Naruto Shippuden. We had Bleach was still going, I want to say, at the time of the start of the decade. It ended 2012. Of course, the only piece, the One Piece. We had One Piece. We had a lot of shonen that came out, and technically, Attack on Titan is also a shonen. And the winner of that category was My Hero Academia. I ain't bashing My Hero. I love My Hero, but no, I'm not gonna do that. Nah, like Naruto Shippuden was amazing in the end. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of bullshit in the Shippuden anime, the fillers and all that, terrible and all that stuff. But to say favorite shonen series of the decade, when Naruto ended this decade, when One Piece been going this decade, which don't get me wrong, One Piece has problems. And then on top of that, all the great shonen that have come out weekly. First season of Seven Deadly Sins, fuck the third season, because that shit is absolute garbage. But first season of Seven Deadly Sins, major contender. One Punch Man, major contender. One Punch Man is shonen, right? I want to say. And if it's not shonen, then I take the One Punch Man back. But better yet, I bet a lot of you will agree with this one. Dragon Ball Super. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, don't get me wrong, there was problems with Dragon Ball Super 2, but that shit was humongous. Everybody was so freaking hyped. I remember seeing a video of 10,000 people in Ecuador watching the Goku versus Jiren fight on a big screen outside. Like if this was like a boxing match and shit. Yeah, My Hero Academia, I'm sorry. That is very unfair that got that. That's just facts. Like, I love My Hero, but comparing it to a lot of the other shonen that came out this decade, again, Attack on Titan, Dragon Ball Super, and then, you know, the stuff that was still going and is still going, One Piece or Shippuden, or there's no way that My Hero toppled all that. So that's just my take on it, honestly. This was fun to talk about in general because, again, it's reflecting and I'm working on, which I hope you guys like my list that I'm putting out, you know, top anime of the last decade. But some good, some bad. Curious what you guys think. What is your take on some of these subjects? I want to know what you guys would pick for any of these categories. And that last one, though, favorite shonen anime of the decade. What do you think about them giving that to My Hero? I say no. No. And yeah, anything else you got to say about the decade? Again, my list video will be coming out, but I just wanted to address this because a lot of people have been talking about it even now, and it's like, they got it wrong with a lot of stuff. That's all I have for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links, of course, are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule. Anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in. Enjoy the next ride, but I was the best ride. But I hope you know that